Okay. Hello, everybody. Happy iOS Tuesday. I hope you are having a fantastic day. I'm doing well. My name is Eugene. So if you're new to my platform, if you're new to my live streams, I'm an iOS developer, and every Tuesday I go live. I do iOS Tuesday live. So, and iOS Tuesday is my way to reconnect with the community, and it's my way to um, chat with you, is my way to bring iOS developers together and maybe share something useful. So, the topic for today is how to land your first iOS developer job. So, what we're going to do today, we're going to talk about a few different ways you can land your first iOS development job. We're going to briefly at the end talk about the networking, or not networking, the interview for technical interview and non-technical interview. If you are interested in more detailed live stream about the interview process, let me know. I can definitely do a live stream about that. So during live stream is I will be presenting, I will be talking, and it's really informal. So feel free to ask me a question. Feel free to share what you think. Let me check one more thing really quick. All right, so yeah, like feel free to share, feel free to ask me a question, feel free to share your thoughts. So because this live stream is where we come together, is where we communicate and chat. It's not just me talking at you. I also would like to hear from you. So let's start writing and let's start talking about how to land your first iOS developer job. So, there's more than one way. And what do I mean by that is that there's literally more than one way to land your first iOS developer job. You can go through internship. So let's say you went to school and you go to internship. Like you can go to coding boot camp. You can start your own freelancing, and you can start your own business. You can create your own experience. So, or you can get into tech with a different specialty, and at some point, you might want to transition to iOS development. So there's more than one way to get into iOS development. There's more than one way to land your first iOS developer job. So, and I don't know which way you're trying to get into your first iOS developer job. Share with me in the comments below, in the comments in the chat. But we're going to talk about a few different ways to get into iOS development. So, and the first way is I would like to start with internship. Okay, I would like to start with internship. So, because there are a few different options when it comes to internships. So, a while back, internship was an option for college graduates. It used to be just a part of your curriculum at your university, and at some point you have to go to internship. But and it still is, but there are more companies right now that are open to internships from other people, especially if you go into a coding bootcamp, especially if you are going to some sort of educational route. I know some companies would be willing to accept and open for the internship for people who are self-taught and who are trying to get into like development, and there are different programs apart aside from internships. For example, um, let me switch here. Like so, for example, um, their apprenticeship program. So, like many companies would like to teach developers on an apprenticeship program because it is like for software development, it's more appropriate to do apprenticeship. So, because well, you are learning from other developers how to handle your craft, how to be better iOS developer, how to better write code, and it's more than appropriate to create those programs. So when it comes to internships, I personally don't have a lot of experience with internships because I never had one. I never with software development. I never had an internship with software development. But when it comes to internships, the way to get into internship is through networking, of course. So make sure that you gather all the information at your university. And when it comes to the recruiters, I know that some companies have a separate, a separate set of recruiters who work with new college graduates and who work with internship programs. So make sure that like when you're looking for internships, make sure when you network with other people, you ask if they know or if they have a recruiter who is responsible for internship. And when you're going through your internship program, because like I work at a couple of companies that have internship program, and like there is an interview process, and interview for interns are much easier than for software developers. For certain companies, you still need to know your data structures and algorithms, and sometimes well, they go really heavy on data structures and algorithms because it's all you know. Like if you go to a university, if you go to school, you study data structures and algorithms. You probably don't know iOS development that well. You probably don't know or your craft, your specialty that you're applying for that well. And they probably don't even know, like sometimes companies don't even know which team they're going to put you on. So maybe it's a backend team, maybe it's web team, maybe it is mobile team, iOS team. So it it really depends on the company. So the next way to get iOS development job is freelancing. So let me talk about a little bit more about freelancing. So in other words, like how you can leverage freelancing to let you first like iOS development job. So let's say you're like regardless, you can go to boot camp, you can teach yourself how to code, but like you're at that point where you just finish your degree and your program at your local college, at your local university, and you're trying to get into like you try to get a professional experience. So there's like one way, like really I don't want to say really easy way because there's nothing easy about freelancing. So Upwork is a website where people go for freelance, but why freelancing is a good way to get into iOS development because you can gain a lot of experience from working with different clients, from working on different problems, and you also develop yourself as a business because regardless if you are going for a job for the employment or if you're like doing freelancing, no matter what you do, you're a business of one. And as a developer, you not only have to be good at your craft, what you do at iOS development or web development, but you also have to be good, you also have to have your business skills because you're a business of one. So regardless if you're applying for a job, you're negotiating your salary, you're negotiating your benefits, you are looking into business perspective, what that job can bring you as a business of one, how that job can benefit you as a business of one, what you can deliver as a business of one. And also like when you communicate with your, regardless if it is your client or if it is your boss, you want to position yourself that you deliver services. that you deliver, that your business delivers services. Be clear about expectations, be clear about the requirements. So at work, it's a like I think it's one of the ways to get freelancing. Another way is to network with your local businesses. And when I talk about local businesses, let's say you have a diner, or you have a store, or you have a bar, and you may ask them if they need an iOS app or a mobile app, and you can develop even even before you ask. So you might want to scope out how different businesses operate. So let's say you notice that that QR code, right now a lot of restaurants use QR code, okay, and a lot of those web menus that pops up on QR, they're not really user friendly. So I don't know about you, but I always have a difficult time to look at the menu, or read through the description. And sometimes different websites will have different versions. Sometimes it is a PDF file or a screenshot of the paper menu, and I literally have to zoom in and out and kind of go from one side to another side of the menu, and it's not really good experience. Or sometimes there are too many clicks, there the menu is not really the menu is not really optimized. So what you can do for that business, you can develop a showcase and bring your mobile app with you. And of course, it's not like that you go to the first restaurant you ever went to, go there for a while, make sure that people know you, make sure that you're regular there. So for example, I go to a few restaurants that I'm regular there. People know me there, and at some restaurants people know me by name. So, and at this stage, what you can do, even if people don't know you by name, in this at this stage, you might want to ask to talk to a dining room manager, or or somebody who is responsible for business decisions, and you can present them your mobile app with the menu and say, hey, I noticed that that QR code, it works. I can see the menu, but I can offer you a better experience. I can you can actually scan, you can actually land, the users can actually land a mobile app and look at the menu like that, and you can offer more solutions. So for example, develop some sort of system where people can order online through the mobile app, or maybe they can specify a number of the table and make an order on the mobile app, and it will and server will bring it back to the table. But it's kind of moving forward. Offer MVP, just a menu on the mobile app that will look great. Or if they are connected with a different mobile app, maybe try to work out something with app clip, and maybe you can connect with those developers and develop app clip for them, because it is a good option to have for them. And for you, it's going to be a great experience as an iOS developer, and for them it will be beneficial in terms of their business. So in terms of the money, that might not be your six-figure job, right? Because small businesses, they normally don't have a lot of money, but you can gain, maybe you're not going to make a lot of money on that project in particular, but you're going to gain a lot of experience, and you're going to get your references, and you're going to get your good name, and they might recommend you to other businesses, and you might want to you might be able to build your client base like that. So, and when it comes to freelancing, I it's really rare when big companies like Google, Amazon, Apple would use freelancers for their job, unless it is a really rare skill. But normally small businesses, they would use freelancing, they would for their jobs, and it's not really that uncommon. um kind of similar to freelancing. When a corporate, like when recruiters from the agencies are reaching out to you, like you might also like land your not necessarily freelance job, but it can be a contract job. And contract jobs or contract opportunities, they normally a little bit easier when it comes to the interview process, and the interview process is a little bit faster. They may or may not pay better. It depends on the contract, depends on the company, depends on your experience. But let's say you don't have a lot of experience, so they're probably not gonna pay you the whole lot. But like in the freelancing theme, you might be able to land your contract job just like that. So what else? Another option is starting with QA, and I totally missed that slide on my banner. So starting with QA, it's a path that like I took accidentally. So if you don't know my origin story, how I got into tech, my first my first tech job was uh, QA engineer. I was doing testing. I was heavily involved in writing like test cases and doing user acceptance testing and writing test automation scripts. So like that, and I got into QA not to get into mobile development. I got into QA because I wanted to get into QA. That's kind of, and that was my purpose. That was my intention to do QA, because QA people also can make a lot, like pretty decent money, maybe a little bit less than developers, but like pretty decent money. So with QA, why QA is good? As a QA, you're gonna get a lot of exposure in tech industry. So you're gonna work with developers, you're gonna work with project managers, you're gonna work with technical project managers. You might work with user feedback. So, for example, you might be responsible for reading feedback from the App Store. I mean, and different companies is done differently, but you have a lot of exposure. And if you land your first job as a QA, and like then you move forward and you will aim mobile opportunities as a QA engineer or as a software developer in tests. When I feel like, regardless what the industry like regardless of the prejudice of the tech industry towards software developer and tests, as soon as you start writing test automation, you're writing code, you're doing programming work. So, and as soon as you doing test automation with native iOS stack, and I'm talking about XUI test, you're you're like 10 steps closer to your first iOS developer job. Because if you keep learning iOS development and you know how to do UI tests, so it will increase your chances to land your first to let your first iOS developer job. So starting with QA, it's not a bad option, and maybe you will like it as your professional path. I should warn you. So I made a live stream on how to transition from QA to iOS development, and one thing that I mentioned, that there is a huge prejudice in tech industry towards QA people. Unfortunately, many companies, or many, like not companies like, but recruiters and hiring managers, they think that QA engineers, they don't know how to code, simply put, and they're trying to put you back into your QA testing bugs, and even when you have experience. And I'm not saying that your QA experience will hinder you moving forward, but it's something that you might have to overcome. You might have to be really assertive what you want, especially when you're in transition from QA to development, that even though you have QA experience, you don't want to keep up with QA experience. You don't want to keep up with that. You want to do development, and you want to be really, really clear about your intentions. But it's something that to keep in mind, and it's a decent way to like break into anyone's developer job, especially if you work with mobile team, especially if you work with native iOS applications, especially if you work with XUI tests. So a lot of people ask, do I need an app in an app store? And it's a really, really decent question to ask. And the short answer is yes. The long answer, it depends. So let me start with a short answer. Yes, you need a job as an iOS. You need a job. You do need a job as an iOS developer, but you do need an app as an iOS developer on the App Store. At least it's a really, really good idea to have if you don't have any experience or if you don't have a lot of experience. It's something that you can show your potential employer, and something that you put a link on your LinkedIn profile, and something that you can put on your resume and showcase your work, because your mobile app in the App Store will speak louder than any resume, any cover letter, and it's literally your job. So you may ask me like, okay, can I have my GitHub account and just show my employer my GitHub account? Yes, you may, but when it comes to your GitHub account, make sure that you have some sort of visual representation of your mobile app that you have on GitHub. But GitHub is not the same as App Store, because when you land your app in an app store, you already know how to go through the system, how to develop mobile app, and how to deploy mobile app, because this is what you do. You develop mobile app and you deploy it to on the app store. And more importantly, before you land your first iOS developer job, I would highly recommend to test it. So use Test Flight and share with your friends, share with users on Twitter, and collect feedback from other people, because you don't want to put garbage in App Store and then your app will hinder you from getting your first iOS development job, because if it's not done right, and if the user experience is not as good, so like you don't want to keep that app on the App Store. So I would recommend to use Test Flight and invite as many people as you can, collect the feedback, and Test Flight offers you that option to collect the feedback from people. They can message you directly through the Test Flight system, and they can also connect with you on Twitter or on your social media, where you asking people to like test out your app. Make sure that your app is fairly tested. Make sure that your app is user friendly, and make sure that there are no surprises. And more importantly, when you deploy your app to Test Flight, test it yourself. Make sure that you cover your edge cases. For example, when you work on the simulator, you may miss out on certain like keyboard functionality, because for the simulator, like for example, you don't have to have your iPhone keyboard present, because you can use your keyboard on your computer. And when you deploy your app to the App Store, or when you deploy your app on the mobile device, then you see your issues with the keyboard. It's something from my experience, because I've done it before, or like I would release a tutorial and on the video it looks nice. I built my app on my phone, and like a side note, when you do mobile development, it's always better to do your development on the real device, because simulator is nice, it's fast, but you do want to test your app on the real device and see how your real device will behave with your mobile app that you develop. So yes, a mobile app is a good idea to have. It's a good thing to have, but it's not must. Well, it's not really must have. It depends, again, it depends like from your experience. For example, if you had a internship and then you land your first iOS developer job, your app might be your app that you actually working on if it is public. um, I work on a few public facing applications on the on the business side, so uh, that would work too. But when you present a mobile app that you worked on with a team, it's really important to specify what you've been working on, what functionality you've been working on. Maybe there are specific screens or specific flows that user may use when it comes to a mobile app. But again, it won't hurt. Like it, I highly recommend it, but make sure that it's fairly tested. Make sure that your app is in a good shape and form, and you user can use your app um, easily. So make sure that you don't deploy anything that you don't want your potential employer to see. So let's move on. Create your experience. So we all know this meme. So I need a job. I can hire you without experience, but I need a job to get an experience. Well, then go work. Well, give me a job, and and we go in cycles and cycles and cycles. But like how we can break this cycle? How can you break the cycle? So remember earlier in the live stream, if you're joining me right now, earlier when I talk about freelancing, I was talking about that you building your business as a business of one. So what you can do, you and it kind of like ties to freelancing. What you can do, you can create your own company. You can register your own company, and it's not going to cost you a lot of money. And I think it is LLC. LLC will not cost you a lot of money. You can create your own company, and you can start freelancing and do work. And as a matter of fact, for the love of God, create your own company. Don't work with companies for like as a person, because God forbid you do something wrong, you screw up, and the company decides to sue you. They will sue you. They will sue you for everything you have. In worst case scenario, or like you will be liable. You personally will be liable, and you don't want that. So when you create a business relationship should be with a business entity, not with a personal entity. So because you can be business entity, yes, and like I said, you business of one and yada yada yada. Yes, you're a business of one, but as a business of one, you want to create your business. As a business of one, you want to create your legal entity that will be responsible for your job. So if you screw up and the company decides to sue you, they can't really sue you directly. They will most likely, I'm not a lawyer. I am not a lawyer, but in most cases, they will sue your legal company. There's a YouTuber, her name is Emily D. Baker, and she's a lawyer, and she has an amazing video how to create your own, her advice, how to create your own LLC. She is talking about content creation, but you can apply similar advice to your situation as a software developer, and you can follow her advice. And I will link her video after live stream is over on my YouTube page, on my YouTube live stream. I will link the link for her video in the description. So make sure to look out for that, because maybe I will look for this video like when we're going through questions. So at the end of live stream, but like most likely it's going to be at the end. So create your LLC, create your company, and as a LLC, as your business entity, Like, this is the thing. You don't have to have freelance clients. You can literally work on your product. You can develop your to-do list app at your, like, whatever, John LLC or John iOS Developer LLC, and it's your business product. And doesn't matter if it makes your money or not. It doesn't matter if you have a lot of users or not. And you can actually enter into indie developer with your LLC, and you can create your mobile apps that potentially can make money for you. So you can put ads, like, for example, you can develop like really simple, silly games that you see like on Facebook. Like, there are a bunch of like ads for like small apps, like games. You can develop your little game, and you can put ads on that, and you can get paid for those ads. And here we go, it's your product. You can show that app in the app store. You can get your references or your real job experience, and you can create LLC with your friends or family or like-minded people that like were your like partners or coworkers. And like, and like, I use air quotes, they are your partners, they are your coworkers, they work at your LLC company. Doesn't matter if you're not paying them as of yet, and because it's a startup. It's a startup. So like literally every LLC, it's like it can be considered as a startup, right? So you can create your own experience, and you can use it as a place of employment. It is legal, and it's absolutely legal. You're not lying on your resume because A, you are developing a mobile app. B, you are working for a business entity. You are working at the company like John Smith LLC. It's a new company, whatever. So you do want to have that experience, and it's really handy, especially if you are in the position where, like, okay, so I tried internships, I tried networking, I tried applying for 1,000 jobs a day, I tried X, Y, and Z. None of that worked. None of that worked. So like everybody says, you need experience. So you can create your own experience, create your company, create your experience, develop your app, and who knows, maybe your indie app will work for you and you will be able to make money as an indie developer. So, and again, if you think it's shady or it's illegal or like you're lying on your resume, it's not true. You're not lying on your resume, you're not lying on your resume. You're not lying on your work of experience, because you develop mobile apps, regardless if it is like freelancer or not, or you're developing your own very, very unique to the app. It's your experience that you can show off your potential employer. So regardless which way you choose to go, whether it is internship that I talk at the beginning, like to get in a good internship, you want to network with recruiters. To get into good internship, you want to network with other software developers and see if they have internship program. See, maybe they can recommend you, like to maybe they can recommend you to their internship program. So networking is really important. Freelancing, like when you're a freelancer, networking is your everything. Is your everything. You are a business of one, and you have to tell people about your experience. You have to go to that moms and pops like shops and share like what you do. Like, don't be when you go out to eat, when you go out to do your hair, when you go out to do your nails, when you go out to do like to have fun, don't be shy to socialize with people and with business owners that say, hey, I'm an iOS developer. Do you need a mobile app? I can probably help you. In some cases, like, look, I'm not really doing a lot of freelancing right now, but like people ask sometimes, business owners ask me, like, Eugene, would you build me a mobile app? And, like, as of right now, I don't have a lot of time to do freelancing, but if I were, I totally would. And as a matter of fact, one of my friends, they own like a boot camp for QA, and they needed an iOS developer, legit iOS developer, to build legit mobile apps for their students so they can test it. And guess what I did? Guess what I did? I networked with them, and I kept in touch throughout the years that, like, I was in the industry. And at some point, I say, "Hey, do you need a mobile app?" And at some point, they also say, "Hey, it looks like that you're trying to do iOS development. We need a mobile app." And our interests, like, they met. And, you know, I needed to build a mobile app for somebody, and they needed a mobile app, and they couldn't really afford like 10x iOS developer, so they decided to go with me. And more importantly, I know QA industry, so I made sure to develop app in a certain way so they can use it in a certain way. It's really important. Networking with recruiters, also really important. And I think a lot of people don't put enough effort into networking with the recruiters. But you do, like, even if you're not looking for a job right now, and I know we're talking about, like, for landing your first iOS developer job. Let's say you got your first iOS developer job, or your second iOS developer job, or your fifth iOS developer job. You do want to network with recruiters. You do want to have good relationship, because when you're looking for work, people know that you're looking, and you have an army behind you. And also, you can network on LinkedIn, you can network on Twitter, you can network in good old days, you could network on when is that, like, Clubhouse. And I networked at Clubhouse, like, when I was more involved with Clubhouse. And I think you still can, like, people reach out to me through Clubhouse, so it's a real thing. So, like, networking is really important no matter what you do. Even if you work as a like, you decided that, like, nothing worked, you LLC, you want your LLC to succeed, and maybe, like, your business, like, start your, like, make profit out of your business. So networking is crucially important. I can make a separate live stream about networking. Let me know if you're interested. But, like, it's really, really important. So, and no matter what you do, when you're looking for a first job as an iOS developer or as any developer, it's not a sprint. It's not a sprint. So, if you're on Twitter, if you follow YouTubers like myself or Sean Allen, or, like, literally any YouTubers, or, like, any people on social media in tech space, you probably hear, like, "Oh, I landed my first job in a month. I landed my first job in 3 months. I landed my first job in 9 months. I landed my first job after a year." But everybody's different, and everybody is learning differently, and everybody takes a different path. It took me, speaking of iOS development, it took me about, like, about a good, like, 2.5, 3 years to land my first iOS development job, because I decided to be QA at first, and then I came across an iOS team, a mobile team, and I liked it so much. And like, at first I wasn't aiming for iOS development. It came later. Some people land like their first job after a couple of years. Some people land a job really fast after a month or so. Every experience is different, and if it's taking you too long to land your first iOS developer job, don't be discouraged. Keep trying. It's okay to take a pause. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to ask for it's okay to ask for feedback. It's okay to ask for advice. It's okay to see what you can do differently. But it's not a sprint. It's not a sprint. So everybody is different. So now let's talk about technical interview and then non-technical interview. And by the way, we are almost done. If you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, please let me know in the comments. If you tell me about your experiences landing your first iOS developer job. Tell me about your challenges if you're looking for iOS developer job. Tell me about your experiences. Tell me about your challenges. I would like to hear from you. So, as I go over the interviews, technical interview and non-technical interview, please let me know if you have any questions. Please share your experiences because it's a dialogue. I'm not here just to talk at you. I'm here to talk with you. So, let's start with technical interview. And again, I'm not gonna go super into like too many details about interview because like it's just an overview how to land your first job. But like with the technical interview, what you can expect in like there are typical three components of technical interview. You might have all of them, or you may have some of them. Take home assignment, iOS domain specific knowledge, and data structures and algorithms. And they can be given in different order. Sometimes they give you the first technical screening is your data structures and algorithms. Make sure that you study them. There are a bunch of resources. LeetCode is your friend. Algo Expert is your friend. I used Algo Expert and I used LeetCode. Both resources are great. I use them both together simultaneously because like they have two different benefits. iOS domain specific knowledge. Make sure that you know your shit about iOS. Make sure that you know your stack as an iOS developer. Well, how you can improve your iOS domain specific knowledge is to follow a bunch of YouTubers who talk about iOS, like myself, for example. So if you haven't subscribed, do the YouTube things. Like the video, subscribe my channel, and this is one step closer to your first iOS development job. So listen to podcasts, read the blogs. There's a like you can find a lot of articles on Medium. You can find a lot of articles on dev forums. You can find resources on Twitter if you look for iOS. You can find what people are sharing, what kind of questions they're sharing. They share. So improve your iOS domain specific knowledge. Take home assignment. Take home assignment. A majority of the time, it's a bit like to build your first, like not your first, to build an iOS simple iOS app. So yeah, make sure that like you practice a lot and you build on your a lot of iOS apps, and those take home assignments there, it's a really good way to get more experience with iOS. It is it just simply is. So the more take home assignments you take, and they're fairly similar though, the better developer you are, and the different like you gonna face different challenges. And I personally enjoy take home assignments. I like taking them. So, and I have a couple of um um I have a couple of comments. So let me share it with you. Um so I am 94, I spoke with the internet startup. They asked if I knew HTML. I didn't. That right. I Googled the subject and crafted my first website, and I brought it to them the next day, and I was hired. All right, yeah, like that's amazing. And text graphic bottom left screen is misspelled. View, not view. Okay, yeah, I apologize. I have trouble spelling things. But thank you for your comment. So like this is a really good example. This is a really good example how people learn the subject and they get hired. And it's really what the development job is all about. You learn on the subject, and you land a job. And as an iOS developer, I learned something, and then like I implement it, and this is how I get my work done. Yeah, I'm a terrible speller as well. Aren't we all? And like usually, not usually, like today, like I was just creating my some of the slides before the show, or editing, or editing. I was editing some of the stuff right before the show, and of course, I don't have enough time to spell check everything. So, but like this is the technical interview portion. So let's talk about non-technical interview. So, non-technical interview is as important as your technical interview. So, with your non-technical interview, they want to see how you interact with your coworkers. And your non-technical interview starts with your technical interview, because people see how you interact with them. People see how you ask questions. People look at your attitude. People see how you how you are as a person. So, how you communicate with the business. And this is really important. And this is something that I notice on the interview. I might do really well with engineers, but sometimes business people can be a little bit more demanding. A lot of um, a lot of people who are in business, and when I say business, I mean project managers, product owners, technical project managers. They work on the business side of the product. So they're like a lot of them are type A personality. They're really demanding. They're like they're go-getters, and like they want to see that you are as well, and they want to see how you interact and communicate with the business. And it's something that comes kind of with experience. But when you communicate with your business people, make sure that you are communicate like a business to business, and make sure that you show them yet that you understand what they're going through, and make sure that you listen to them, and make sure that you keep open communication with them. So, how you will overcome challenges? There are a bunch of questions like, tell me about the time when like you couldn't figure out something and sell something on your job. Tell me about the time when you failed the project. Tell me about the time like you were late at work. Whatever. I mean, don't be late at work. They will ask you that kind of questions, because it's real, like it's important for them how you overcome those kind of challenges, how you deal with challenging situations. Another thing is, how do you deal with conflicts? Because look, I'm a very peaceful person. I don't like fighting with people. I don't fight with people. I don't get into conflicts, but like they will arise. For example, like you feel strongly about your code implementation, and somebody in your PR or MR says, like, nah, it's not how we do things. So what do you do? Like it's a conflict. It's a conflict. But you might want to negotiate and find happy medium. you know, or like listen to another party, and maybe, yeah, your implementation totally sucks and you totally should redo it. Or maybe you should do something totally different. Like you don't want to like they want to make sure that when conflict arises, you will handle it well. How do you deal with failures? Look, at any job, you're gonna fail at some point, and it's okay. And when I say you might fail at some point, I don't mean that you will get fired. Some projects may not land, some code implementations may not be as good. Some things, like you may fail and you will fail at some things. It's really important to communicate how you overcome those failures, how you overcome those challenges. What do you do? Like failure is not the end. Failure is a lesson. It's a way to learn your lessons. It's a way to be better. But what did you do differently, or like what did you do when you fail? Did you just let it go and like, okay, well, I guess I fail. I guess I'm not doing that. I guess I'm fired, and like I'm okay with that. But how do you overcome them? What do you do differently next time? How do you um how do you do your analysis where you fail and how you fail and why you fail? It's really important. And a lot of employers, especially big companies like Amazon, especially companies like Google, they will look into that stuff, and they will um, they uh, they will ask you those questions. So this is all I have. We were streaming for 51 minutes. Before I go, do you have any questions? Was it useful? Do you have any thoughts? Anything? And like, I really appreciate like your comments. I really appreciate like you being here. So like, once did a software push and tech fail to do backups? Yeah, it happens. It happens. Yeah. But what did you do differently after that? How did you overcome that challenge? So like that's a good example to bring on your interview, and then back it up. What did you do differently, or what would you do differently next time? So even if you didn't do anything differently, it's really important to come up with a scenario. What would you do in case of your failure? All right, so we were writing for 52 minutes right now, and uh, um, like so fabric. Let me know what in what context salt fabric. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what you mean. So, if you want to, like, you feel free to clarify. I'm about to wrap up though. So, um, yeah, um, I hope it was useful. I hope you got something out of this live stream. I appreciate every single one of you who uh oh, I had to get a different job. So yeah, I had to get a different job. Oh, hey, my friend. Very useful information. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being on my live stream. Yeah, and this is it. I appreciate y'all, and I wish you find your first iOS developer job sooner rather than later. And I wish you all well. And thank you for writing with me for 54 minutes as of right now. So thank y'all, and I will see you in the next live stream or in the next video. iOS Tuesday is here to stay. I'm probably gonna do the same time as I did today. It's 6 p.m. Mountain Time. It's 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and it's some other time on the East Coast and Central Time. I don't remember at this point. So thank you, and I will see you next time. Bye, y'all.